Hi there, this is Bob Moog at the Toy Fair booth of University Games, and UGames Studio is doing another exclusive interview, this time with Axel Kaldehoven, who is the managing director and head of Schmidt Spiele, one of the top German game companies. How are you, Axel?
Hello, Bob. Thank you very much. I'm fine.
Nice to have you here with us. I just sprung this interview on Axel. He came to see our company's line and learn about our game Dogman. And I said, before you do anything else, I just want you to be part of the UG Studios YouTube channel. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Schmidt Spiele, because Americans don't really know Schmidt Spiele very well, but we know some of your games.
Okay.
What would be some of the games that are currently on the market in the US that are good sellers and that are popular games?
So we start several years ago with Ligretto, and Ligretto is a card game, a very fast card game, similar like Uno. We start several years ago, and we are very successful with another game since last year. This was Game of the Year in Germany. It's called Quacksalber from Quedlinburg, and we introduced these.
Is North Star Games doing that?
Yes, and
I've seen that.
It's wonderful, and we introduced these. A totally new area for us. In the time before, Schmidt Spiele is only concentrate on games for mainstream or mass market, and then we introduced this game 1.5 years ago, and we are getting the award for Spiel des Jahres, and that is wonderful. And then we introduced it with North Star here in the US.
Yeah, I have not played the game, but I saw it with North Star Games, and they were really excited about it. They're a Canadian company, but they distribute in the US. And I think it's like their lead item, isn't it? It's one of their top items.
Yes. Yeah. So it's a typical German board game, and these high-end German board game, totally different than all the other games. And I think these typical kind of German board games introducing on the US market as well, and I believe that could be a successful stuff for us.
Well, I read an article about 15 years ago about German-style board games, and it was talking about Settlers of Catan, and how Settlers of Catan was moving from the hobby trade into more mass market. And then since then, we've seen a lot of games move over. We see Dixit, and we see Carcassonne. There's a lot of them. Is that part of why you got into it, because you saw more of a global market, or was it just time for Schmidt Spiele to do it?
On the one side, it's time for Schmidt Spiele to do it, and on the other side, let me say, if we have the European market in our hands and we can control it, it's now time to have a look at the American market as well. And what can we do? We do not have any distribution channels ourselves here. We do not have our sales people here. So we decide to make a license agreement with some companies to introduce such a game here. And the market is totally high developed to introduce such games after Settle of Catan and Carcassonne.
So now the market for a German-style game is big enough that it makes sense for Schmidt Spiele to get into that category, because you can do it globally. What outside of Germany and Austria, are there other markets in the world that you're pretty strong in internationally, or that you've targeted?
Yes, let me say Germany is our main market, or German-speaking countries, but on the other side, Europe is much, much closer to us, and Europe trade is much more interesting because we do not have any borders anymore. So shipping from Germany to France, or shipping to Spain or to Italy or Netherlands, it's much, much easier than all the time before. And we have distribution partners and our own sales reps, for example, in France, Austria, and Germany.
Yeah, so you're in a lot of countries. What about the UK? Is that going to change now, or does nobody know?
Nobody knows. So after the Brexit, we have 12 months to see what will happen. So a lot of discussions in Germany happened. What is going on with the tax? What is going on with the shipment? Nobody knows exactly how we can do it, how we will solve it. I believe during the next 12 months we will see what will happen. But it's interesting for us as well. Yeah. Because
it could be an opportunity, or it could make it difficult.
I think it would get more difficult because it's. I will compare it a little bit to Switzerland, and then it's not so easy to ship it on an easy way. You have to pay the tax, so you have a little bit more formulas, and you have to make a little bit more control than all the time before.
Some of our audience are game inventors, and they're trying to figure out how to get their game manufactured. If they came to you, what would be the kind of things that you would be looking for when you license a game from an inventor? How do you decide what you're going to
I think what is the secret of a good game?
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about these, and I think the secret of a good game is that you will play it several times, 100 times, and then you will play it every time again and again, and you have a lot of fun. That is the one and most important one. And on the other side, that you will play it every time a different way. So you are happy to wrap it out and to play it again, and they do not have any problem that it will be going on the same way like you played one month before. So on the one side, a little bit strategy, a little bit luck, a little bit playing system. That will be a secret of a good game. But sometimes you believe that this will be inside the stuff you are getting, but nobody else doesn't know these, and so you have to make marketing around these as well.
So it sounds like you're pretty similar to university games in your concept that a great game is where you start, and you want to put out great games versus games that aren't great games. But then we see things like Pie Face and Doggy Doo that, the pig game that Goliath did, and those games sell much better than some of the university games, and maybe even some of the Schmidt Spiele games.
Yeah, but you have to see how it will be promoted. So in Europe, let me tell you something about Europe. If you make TV advertising and you put a lot of money on the desk to invest money, then you get a lot of space in the shelf, and then everybody wants to buy this game. Is this a game which will be a long seller? Nobody knows. If you stop marketing and stop TV advertising, then this game is falling down rapidly.
That's what happens in the US too.
Yeah, and that is not, let me say, that is not a long-term idea we have in our mind, because you cannot invest so many times so much money for marketing. Marketing in Germany for TV advertising is very, very high intensive. You have to spend a lot of money for these that you are getting in huge quantities. But you can tease it with it, and then normally it has to go on a normal way. Yeah.
When I look at your product line, Ligretto is, you mentioned it as one that really stands out, because for people who don't know Ligretto, it is as popular as Uno in Germany. It's a really fun game, and the closest thing we have to it, I think, in the U.S. is a game called Dutch Blitz. It's a similar type thing. How long, we look at some of these games that are highly promoted and they last for 1 year or 2 years. How long has Ligretto been in your line, and how many have you sold?
Yeah, we bought...
it was there before you, wasn't it?
Yes. It was invented, I think, 25 years ago.
Wow.
And we bought it 20 years ago. And we sell at the moment in Europe around about 400,000 items of these stuff, and that is fantastic.
Yeah, you met my daughter Lydia, who speaks German, and my family used to spend our summers at a small island in the North Sea called Amrum.
Oh,
Do you know that?
Yes, I know these.
And we spent there, 10 or 12 summers there, and Ligretto was their game. That's what they played every summer. So I'm very familiar with it. They also played another game that was a Ravensburger game. It was a map of Europe, and you try to move around to different locations.
Okay.
Do you know that game?
Yeah, that is Europareise or Deutschlandreise. Yeah.
And they played that, and they really liked that one too. But Ligretto was always their favorite. One of the things that I was wondering with you is, what games do you like? What's your favorite game?
Yeah, that is.
Or what did you play as a child?
So I'm playing as a child only with my Carrera-Bahn. That is the best thing I think for a boy can ever play. So you're racing with your cars in the round, and then you are better than your opponent. Today I'm playing mostly I'm playing a little bit more strategic games. For example, Quirkel. We are getting 2001 the award of Game of the Year with Quirkel.
Wow!
And that is my favorite one.
Okay.
So I love these, and I play these every time with my wife, and so that is a good game for me.
For people who don't know Quirkel is a game sold by Mindware in the U.S.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful, wonderful strategy game. I didn't realize you were getting the award for it.
Yes,
that's really
2001,
great.
and extremely good. Yeah.
So that's been going now for 20 years, 18 years.
Yeah.
And then the most important question, I couldn't have an interview with a German without asking this: what's your favorite German beer?
Oh, my German! I don't like to drink so much beer.
Yes.
So let me say, I'm drinking a little bit more white wine or red
White
wine.
wine. And do you
Yes.
drink in Rieslings and Gewürztraminers are good in Germany? Right?
Yes, but the German white wine is getting better and better, and red wine as well. So I study in the near of Freiburg, and so I love the territory of Markgräfler Land. So in the or at the border to France and to Switzerland. So the wine out of this area is perfect, and I love it.
When I was in college, the wine to get if you really wanted to impress a girl was to go and buy either a bottle of the Portuguese wine Matus or the German wine Blue Nun, which are very low-end wines. But for a university student, we thought that was really stepping up.
Okay, so you opened the heart with a bottle of wine for the colleagues. Huh?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, very good, very good.
Well, we're about up with time. Thank you so much. Now you're going to still stay and see the University Ames product.
Thank you very much to be here, and have a great show.
Thanks.
And
I want to give you one of our UG studio
thank
buttons.
You. Oh, that is very good.
Yes,
thank
that's
you very
your
much.
award. We were going to do £1,000 or €1,000 stipends for these interviews, but we decided the button would be more valuable.
That is, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, good.